In the summer of 2022, I had just finished my 4th complete reread of One Piece. It's kind of become like a yearly tradition for me to go through that entire series from front to back through the manga, along with at least one long-running series that I haven't read in a while. This year it was My Hero and Dragon Ball Z, but once I completed my read-through, I wanted to try some other series that were new to me, kind of outside of my wheelhouse, not the typical action-adventure series that I'm super used to. Every now and again, I end up finding a gem that I really love. Blue Giant, Drifting Dragons, Dungeon Meshi, and while I was looking for new things to read, I got hit with a major surprise. Shonen Jump had released a brand new series. Something so unorthodox and so very different from what I had come to know from the Shonen Jump main page. And out of curiosity and a little bit of hype from Twitter, I decided to check it out. And it immediately became one of my favorite things I've ever read. That series was RuriDragon. RuriDragon is something so unbelievably special. So special, it's kind of hard to put into words. Something so warm, comfy, charismatic, charming ended up in Shonen Jump out of nowhere. It was the kind of series you just couldn't help but love. And then it just disappeared. I've been thinking about RuriDragon for a very long time. Almost every time I finish a new manga or catch up on one I've been meaning to read, I immediately think back to how much I want to be reading more of RuriDragon. And I want to talk about it. Today, let's go over how much I miss RuriDragon. And in order to do that, I have to tell you what RuriDragon even is. Probably should have did that at the start. Sorry. RuriDragon's initial publication on Weekly Shōnen Jump was on June 13th of 2022. This manga featured a young Japanese girl noticing horns on her forehead while brushing her teeth in the morning. Out of obvious curiosity, she goes to ask her mom, who reveals to her that she's half dragon. Yeah, her mom fucked a dragon, like an actual, like fully grown dragon. I don't know how that works, but okay. The series was written and illustrated by Masaoki Shindo. The story follows Ruri as she goes through her day trying to deal with this new development on her head while also going to her high school, meeting with her best friend, going into class with a bunch of very curious teenagers and a super lackadaisical teacher as they all make comments and marvel at this new development. As to be expected, Ruri is very nervous and afraid of how people may treat her because of these horns on her head, but her classmates seem to be very supportive. Ruri laments at all the new attention she's getting and then accidentally breathes fire. After passing out and waking up in the nurse's office, her mom comes to pick her up. She apologizes for all the weird shit that's happening to her that she somehow forgot to tell her daughter. The chapter ends with her friend sending her a silly photo to make her feel better and her asking her mom if she can get curry for dinner. Pretty normal for a first chapter on Shonen Jump of all places, but it works. It worked so amazingly well. This manga is so good at just being normal in unnormal circumstances. There was actually a one-shot that came out in 2020 on Jump Giga that seemed to have gone completely under the radar, at least for me. I had no idea. From my very first read-through, I was so unbelievably amazed. A series so normal in unnormal circumstances worked beautifully, and not just for me, for like everybody. This series took Japanese readers and Western readers by storm. The first chapter received so many positive reviews. Japanese readers being quoted saying that the story's loose atmosphere is not typical for Jump manga and it was very cute. The first volume sold over 70,000 copies in its first week of release, ranking 7th on a weekly manga chart. By October 2022, 200,000 copies were in circulation for RuriDragon. The manga even ranked first in the nationwide Bookstore Employees Recommended Comics of 2023 survey. It doesn't seem they've released English copies of the volume, but I did go to eBay and attempted to buy the Japanese version of the first volume. So whenever that shows up, it'll be in the background somewhere, but I can't wait for it to get here. I won't be able to understand any of it, but I'll have it. Like I said, not just in Japan, Westerners loved this series. It was all the buzz all over Twitter and Reddit. People could not get enough of this series. It truly felt like a brand new, refreshing start for the Shonen Jump field, especially after all of the axes that were going on at the time and plenty of the long-running series being reported to be over within the next 2 years or so. If there was ever a time Shonen Jump had felt like it had gotten a new rising star, it was RuriDragon. I loved it, and so many of my friends did too. But then something happened. I remember catching up on the 6th chapter of Ruri Dragon and being so unbelievably excited for the brand new chapter coming soon. It left on an amazing cliffhanger. Chapter 6 sees Ruri obtaining the new ability of electric discharge, possibly due to the rainy weather in her area at the time. Brand new ability, brand new challenges for this young high school girl, and me and many were anxiously awaiting what we were going to get with the next chapter. But with the release of the 33rd issue of Weekly Shōnen Jump, there was a report that Masaoki Shindo, author for RuriDragon, would be taking a 1-week break due to the author's sudden illness. Shindo left us with some very nice parting words. I've been feeling sick for a while and I had to take a week off. I'm sorry it has to be like this with my first series. I've been really busy with all these new first things and stopped taking care of my health. I will take this time to get myself back in shape. Sorry for everyone involved with RuriDragon and to everyone reading the series every week. Sorry to you too, Ruri. Thank you for enjoying this work so much, even though it has just started. Very nice parting words from the author, and everyone was very supportive. Mangaka and health conditions tend to not go great hand in hand. There have been plenty of times authors have taken weeks off to take care of themselves, or even gone a little bit of extended hiatuses to get right. We just went through a similar situation with Gege Akutami for Jujutsu Kaisen, Ichiro Oda for his eyesight surgery, but there's always an expectation that these series runners will come back eventually after a short amount of time. The manga was expected to continue with the 34th issue of Shonen Jump on July 25th, and soon after that, we received word that RuriDragon would be entering an indefinite hiatus on July 27th. It appears that Shindo Sensei's poor physical condition had gotten worse enough that he would not be returning right away. And since then, nothing. We haven't received any word at all. And the last thing we heard was from a Twitter post that just confirmed that there is no date for the return. And that was back in last year. This was very soul crushing for me. We've seen situations where an author's health ends up getting very critical, situations like the author for Hunter x Hunter, who has been on an extremely extended hiatus, and the very unfortunate death of Kentaro Miura, the author for Berserk. RuriDragon hits home for me specifically because this series didn't even really get a chance to get going yet. Right when it was really getting good, right when people were being drawn in from the first couple of chapters, it goes on hiatus. And I can only hope that the author gets better, because I really miss this series. There are very few series that I would say are genuinely sweet. It's not a word I use often to describe stories that I really like, but RuriDragon is just sweet. This is a story about a young girl going through changes in her life that are so wildly drastic they are affecting every part of her existence. She is no longer the person she was before she woke up and realized she had horns on her head. She now can breathe fire. She now can discharge lightning. She now has to exist with these changes around other classmates who don't have these differences. And all of it feels very scary for her. And where you may expect a story like this to immediately jump into her facing adversity and discrimination, that's not what happens. Her classmates are warm. They're kind. They're intrigued, they're lighthearted, they're funny. It kind of throws her off. It throws us, the readers, off. She even comments on it in later chapters, asking if the girls around her are afraid of her or if she makes them uncomfortable. And they're all honest. Maybe they're a little scared, maybe they're a little uncomfortable, but they see Ruri for who she is, a girl just like them, someone who's cute, someone who's nice, someone who they want to be friends with. Even the kid whose hair she literally burns off kind of plays it off like it was just a fun joke. And by the way, that fireball that she pulls off, absolutely amazing. Like, first try, she is pulling off fireball jutsus that Sasuke could only dream of. And to talk about the fireball, the art in this series is so beautiful. It's very simple and soft. It's very detailed in some areas, but very simple and loose in others. And they make for an excellent viewing experience. The characters are so much fun, from the teacher to Rui's mom to her classmates. Personally, my favorite character is Kashiro. She is so vibrant. She is so funny. And she offers a very interesting juxtaposition to Rui. Chapter 4 deals with Rui falling behind in class because she had been away, dealing with her whole fire breathing thing, and in needing to catch up with her classmates, Kashihiro extends a hand to help her with her studies. And at first, Rui is a little guarded. She says that she's not really into people like Kashihiro because she's so loud as an individual with her colored hair and bright personality. But Kashihiro kind of calls her out, essentially saying that just because she's a little different doesn't mean that they can't be friends. And it's so interesting to see a character like Rui, who's going through the changes and feeling different because of things like her horns, is being confronted by someone who's just has a different personality type. It deals with these themes of discrimination and bullying in such a free and fun way, and I love it for that. This series has so much potential. I was so excited to see what was going to happen with her new electric discharge ability. One thing that I did notice after reading the chapter 0 where they literally pointed out, but then it gets implemented into the mainline series, is that every time Rui gets a new ability, her eyes start to change. When she just gets her horns, her eyes are normal. But then when she starts breathing fire, her eyes become a little more dragon-like. And then once the electricity starts shooting out, her eyes turn into like stars or something. I wanted to see if she was gonna turn like full dragon, or if she was just gonna start exhibiting like different dragon traits while still remaining human. Like maybe she was gonna get a tail. There was even like slight mention that there were other different types of humans out there, kind of like Rui. Were we gonna get introduced to like other hybrid kids? Maybe there was another kid in her school who was also a dragon with like different powers or something. I don't know, I'm just spitballing, but these were just things that I really wanted to see from this series. And to harken back to something I said earlier, this series came out at a time that just felt very bleak for Shonen Jump. So many of my favorite series were entering their final stages, and we kind of really haven't left that space. Even with a lot of the newer series that have come out since RuriDragon's run, before its hiatus, nothing has really stuck the landing that well. Outside of Kagurabachi, which is having a very mixed fan base right now, it's very unlikely we will ever see a series get as much praise and love off of the first chapter like we did with RuriDragon for very genuine reasons. It really felt like a diamond in the rough with so much potential and heart, and I really miss it. I don't know if RuriDragon will ever come back. I don't know if we're gonna get any news anytime soon, but I truly hope it does. Not just for myself, but all the fans out there who really enjoyed it as much as I did. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys for listening to my little rant there. If you haven't read RuriDragon, please go ahead and do that. I will leave a link in the description to read it somewhere. And let me know in the comments how you guys feel about the series. Do you guys think it's gonna come back anytime soon? How did you feel about it when you read it? I'll catch you guys in the next one. Johnny, start out of here. Bye.